Hello and welcome back to Psycholiflix. Today, we've got something truly mind-blowing for you. Are you ready? We're diving into the top 10 shocking psychological experiments that changed our understanding of human behavior forever. But before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss out on our amazing content. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. The Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo wanted to study the effects of power dynamics on human behavior. He set up a fake prison in the basement of the Stanford Psychology Building and recruited 24 young men to play the roles of prisoners and guards. The results? Shocking! Within just a few days, the guards became abusive, and the prisoners started to break down emotionally. The experiment, originally planned to last 2 weeks, was cut short after just 6 days. The Stanford Prison Experiment showed us how situational factors can drastically change our behavior, sometimes in horrifying ways. Number 2. The Asch Conformity Experiment, 1951. Imagine you're in a room full of people who are all giving the wrong answer to an obvious question. Would you stick to the truth or conform to the group? In 1951, psychologist Solomon Asch set out to answer this question. Participants were placed in a group with fake participants, or confederates, who were instructed to give wrong answers. The results? Around 75% of participants conformed to the group at least once, even when the correct answer was blatantly obvious. This experiment taught us the powerful influence of social pressure on our decision-making. Number 3. The Milgram Experiment, 1961. How far would you go to obey an authority figure, even if it meant harming another person? In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted a series of experiments to find out. Participants were instructed to give electric shocks to a learner in another room whenever they made an error on a memory task. What the participants didn't know was that the learner was an actor, and no actual shocks were administered. Still, a shocking 65% of participants obeyed the experimenter's instructions, administering the highest level of shocks. This experiment revealed how easily people can be influenced by authority, even when it conflicts with their moral values. Number 4. The Bobo Doll Experiment, 1961. Do children learn aggressive behavior from observing others? In 1961, psychologist Albert Bandura sought to answer this question with his famous Bobo Doll experiment. Children watched a film where an adult acted aggressively toward an inflatable Bobo doll, and then they were placed in a room with the same doll. The children who had seen the aggressive behavior were more likely to imitate it, compared to those who hadn't. This experiment was groundbreaking, as it demonstrated the importance of observational learning and the impact of media on shaping children's behavior. Number 5. The Pavlov's Dogs Experiment, 1890s. You might have heard of Pavlov's dogs, but do you know the story behind the experiment? In the 1890s, Russian psychologist Ivan Pavlov discovered classical conditioning while studying the digestive systems of dogs. He noticed that the dogs began to salivate when they saw the lab assistant who fed them, even if the assistant had no food. To test this further, Pavlov rang a bell every time he fed the dogs. Eventually, the dogs began to salivate at the sound of the bell alone, even without food present. This groundbreaking experiment demonstrated how reflexive behaviors can be conditioned through association with neutral stimuli. Number 6. The False Consensus Effect, 1977. Do you think other people see the world the way you do? In 1977, psychologist Lee Ross found that we often overestimate how much others share our beliefs and attitudes. Participants in the experiment were asked to estimate the percentage of people who would agree with their opinion on various issues. The results showed that participants consistently overestimated the extent to which others agreed with them. This phenomenon, known as the false consensus effect, highlights how our own perspectives can shape our perception of reality. Number 7. The Bystander Effect, 1968. Ever wondered why people sometimes fail to help others in need, especially when there are many witnesses? In 1968, psychologists John Darley and Bibb Latané conducted experiments to understand this phenomenon, known as the bystander effect. Participants were placed in a room and believed they were communicating with other people through intercoms. During the conversation, one participant, actually a recording, started to choke and cry for help. The results showed that the more people participants believed were present, the less likely they were to help. This experiment highlights the diffusion of responsibility and the importance of individual action in emergency situations. Number 8. The Pygmalion Effect, 1968. Did you know that people tend to perform better when more is expected of them? In 1968, psychologists Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson conducted an experiment to study this phenomenon, known as the Pygmalion Effect. Teachers were told that certain students were academic bloomers and would show significant improvement over the school year. In reality, these students were chosen randomly. The results showed that the bloomers did indeed perform better, as the teachers' higher expectations influenced their behavior and attitudes. This experiment emphasizes the power of expectations in shaping our performance and success. Number 9. The Blue Eyes Brown Eyes Experiment, 1968. Can experiencing discrimination change our behavior and attitudes? In 1968, teacher Jane Elliott divided her third-grade class into two groups based on eye color, blue-eyed and brown-eyed. On the first day, she told the students that blue-eyed children were superior and treated them preferentially. The next day, she reversed the roles. The children quickly adopted discriminatory behaviors, and their academic performance was affected. This controversial experiment demonstrated the impact of discrimination on both the oppressor and the oppressed and highlighted the importance of addressing prejudice and discrimination in society. Number 10. The Marshmallow Test, 1972. How good are you at delaying gratification? In the 1970s, psychologist Walter Mischel conducted the marshmallow test, a study on children's self-control. Children were given a marshmallow and told they could eat it immediately or wait 15 minutes and receive a second marshmallow as a reward. The results showed that children who were able to wait for the second marshmallow tended to have better life outcomes, including higher academic achievement and better health. This experiment emphasizes the importance of self-control and delayed gratification in achieving long-term success. And there you have it. 10 mind-blowing psychological experiments that have changed the way we understand human behavior. These experiments have had a profound impact on our knowledge of how we think, feel, and act, giving us valuable insights into the human mind. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Psycholiflix for more awesome content exploring the fascinating world of psychology. And before you go, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Which experiment surprised you the most? Are there any other experiments you think should have made the list? Let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Psycholiflix.